Hi everyone, I'm back from my travels and wanting to get back into crafting and art journaling again, and I got home and the start of Tim Holtz's new products had just starting to arrive in the shop, and I got so excited when I saw his paper stash, the Wallflower. There's another one as well which I really enjoy, but the photos just can't do them justice. They're just gorgeous. I plan to do a configuration book out of it, and his, by the way, his new configuration books have arrived too, but I'm going to do the big one this time, and I'm probably going to be using some of his new stamps. This is bird feather, gorgeous. The detail on these stamps is just incredible. But this was really brilliant. I love it, Tim, wherever you are. I've been looking through them all and deciding which ones I'm going to use. There's no way you can look online and see how gorgeous these papers are and the detail that's on them. It just does not show. He's also got some very feminine for him. There's one here that inspires me. I might do a little configuration book. This one here, absolutely gorgeous. The soft colours and the reference in it and the scrolly writing, they all inspire me. So this configuration book is going to be all about Tim Holtz products, so the majority of them in there and that I use on them. There'll be the occasional thing I don't, but it's going to be his products. So with that, I could take you through and show you this whole book, but I'm sure that you would have seen it on other blogs and what have you. There's another one here that's abs. I mean, look at the beautiful colours, just gorgeous. How does anybody resist it? I can't. And then of course with his books you get these, which I'll probably be making a book out of to go into here. These quarter-page pieces, and you get the ATC size, and then you get these little squares. These are the ATC size with all those images on them. So they're going to making the little boxes inside, which I can intend to decorate up quite extensively. Really fun. So with that, I'll get to it. I won't bore you with, I'll fast forward through a lot of it, but you'll see what I'm doing, and I'll show you the products I'm using and how I do the edges of the box. You don't need to watch me do every little bit. It's just painting on. Okay, I've got my configuration box, and I'm using the Viva Metal Effect and the gold iron on the edges. I like this because it's rough and it's textured, and I find that when I am colouring these little boxes, any imperfections just disappear. I kind of like it. You can tape, you would have seen on videos where you can tape the edges of them. You can join them together, and as with my Christmas clock, you can even use this type of paste so that this becomes seamless just by putting it in between in the cracks. I've decided to do it this way, and all I have done is I've just painted it on and just done the edges. Now some of this you don't have to do, but I never know quite how I'm going to arrange things, so I just slap it on there with a paintbrush. After you cut, you'll see me put this on. It's very important that you put this paper down with wet glue of some sort. If you use your double-sided tape, if you come to treat it afterwards with a fast finish decoupage or anything that's going to make this incredibly strong and be able to not have marks on it, if you haven't got it put down firmly with wet glue, it will bubble underneath, and that's what creates your bubbles, and you do not want that. So make sure you use wet media to put it down. I have also taken the second page of this, and I have cut out the bird, but at first I haven't cut it out yet, sorry. I've stuck it to this grunge paper. I like grunge paper because it makes this image when I fussy cut it out, it'll make it incredibly strong, because I intend to layer it over here at some stage. Again, you must stick it down with wet media. I have used Clean Helmut's multi-medium and a matte finish. I like to stick them down with a matte, but you can use golden gel medium. You can even use fast finish to put it down there underneath it as well as on top. But I stress, use it thickly and generously, and make sure that that goes down and sticks in every place. So I've decided to use this particular one from the Wallflower range to line the box in a couple of different ways, which I'm actually going to use the reverse side because it goes beautifully with this. So what we have here is 3 pieces that have been cut. I'll put the measurements in the blue. To cover these pieces, that there, and this here. Now, because I'm putting those boxes in, I only need a small piece for here, and so I've only cut that amount because the boxes will cover the edges. And we've got a nice 1-inch piece down here with the feather on that's going to go onto the back. But before I put those on, I want to just change the colour of this a little. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my black archival ink here, and I'm also going to use the sienna archival ink, and I'm just going to run it around. I just don't want it to be quite the same as it is at the moment. Put the black on first, for whatever reason, I don't know. If you're a person that's perturbed by running your pads over rough surfaces, you can get a bit of your blending foam and put the archival on that way. That way you're only going to wreck a bit of foam. I don't worry about that. It's just not something that concerns me, because I use all my equipment like tools and just use it, and I haven't managed to wreck them too badly yet. You can see how this is just giving it a bit of a rusty tinge look. And I'm going to do that all over. I have inked my edges and stuck down the papers onto this book and kind of arranged it how I'm going to have it. I'm going to fill all these up. Now I want to add some embellishments to the front. I showed you before, I put this down onto paper and it is going to be 3D'd on there. But I want to put some texture in the background. So I'm going to be using some Crafters Workshop stencils to do that. To keep continuity, I am going to be using some of that same Ferro Metal Effect Gold Iron, but I'm also going to combine it with some Champagne or Mother of Pearl Modeling Crème from Viva Decor. I could have used some of Tim Holtz, but they didn't quite suit. Luckily, some of his new stencils that are coming out are have got some in there that would suit a project like this. You can see where I like to do a little bit of experimentation here, where I've taken the Fancy Feather Crafters Workshop stencil, and I've put through and coloured, and it pays to do that. And I've used a bit of paper that's a similar colour. I often, when I'm stenciling, get bits around. I disguise those, and you can too if you're like me and get bits slap happy. So if you see me do that, you'll find later on that I will fix it. So let's do a bit of that. And don't be afraid to combine your product. I mean, I tint this up any colour I want. I change the colour of these. This is the colour that went on this box originally, and it was just a little too goldy for me, and that's where you saw me put on the 2 different archival inks to give it a bit of a rusty kind of a glow that I like. So don't be afraid of changing anything, just change it. See where you can get some interesting effects. I'm going to continue to do those textural look on different places here. I'll put a piece here, I'll probably put a bit here, and I'll put a little bit here. I like 3s. This one dries. These products both dry incredibly fast, but you really want to not layer them at the same time, otherwise you end up putting a stencil all over the place. This next part is where I'm going to be adding a few details to the bird. Now this image, remember, came out of the papers, or the images that are on it, and but I want to give it, I like to have strength, excuse me, I like to have strength in my books, and if I just put this and try to cut out its legs and do that whole thing, this wouldn't make, because I want to bring this up off the page, it would just make it weak. And so I'm going to actually leave that detail in so it's nice and strong, because remember I backed this with grunge paper. But I'm going to add a little dimension in here, or a little colouring in here, so that the bird pops off the paper a little bit more. And the crackle, as you can see, has done its thing. I've put a little highlight in its eye there. It's always good to make these birds come alive. I practiced on that one first to make sure I was going to get it right, because I'm notorious for ruining my bits because I just slap things on, and it just will bring that bird a bit of light. I'm not going to dimensionalize this a lot. I'm going to use the thin 3D foam squares, but I just want a little bit of dimension there. Therefore I'll go around and put a bit of shadowing around the image so that it stands out. And you can note down here I've cut this out, but I haven't cut this bottom piece on there, again, too fiddly. So all I've done is run the crackle paint along the leaves and the branches underneath, so when this goes over top, it all kind of goes together. You'll also see me putting a little detail onto these here, a little shading around them, but also I will use this Viva Decor Precious Metal colour, not sure which, might even be a combination, to give these feathers here a little bit more oomph. I experimented with this piece here, and I kind of like it with a bit of colour in there. I'll then attach my knob, have a look around it, fix the mistakes like getting glue on here, and ripping it up. All those, because this is very tattered kind of a look, you can fix things like that, so it's not a problem. If you make a mistake, you can cover them up. And the stage after that I might do in the next video, because this one will be getting pretty long, where I'll decorate all the inner boxes, and I'll make the book that I'm going to put in here. but I'd also you'll see me, if you're interested in watching that video, use some of the texture paste and that here to create scenes. Use all sorts of things to create scenes, but where I have sky and I have a bottom and branches and what have you. So let's go on with that. I had a little blob here that I didn't like what was going on, so what I did with that is I just got a little bit of the picket fence distress stain, which kind of blends in with everything, and just ran it along here for a highlight. The reason I got that blob is because there's a little mark in the paper. So you can do that and it'll just take that away, give it a nice little highlight there. And when you're colouring any of these stamps, all you're doing is following where it tells you, or stamps or images, you can see shading on the original, and you just follow those marks to get a look that you like. If you haven't got the distress stain, the picket fence, which is the white one, you could use a bit of dilution spray in the white. It'll give you that same chalky effect. You can water down a little bit of paint, white paint, and do the same thing. You can use whatever you've got, but this works really great. Coats of the fast finish on here. I got a bit carried away with the back of it because I'd put so much muck on my craft sheet, as I'm likely to do, and it got quite mucked up, so I got a bit carried away with that. I'll probably put a little of the same colour like this just on those three and leave it, but you could have left this plain, or I had a mark on here as well. It was quite bad. Put some things around and it would look fine. Didn't really need these bits apart from the fact that I've got product and put it everywhere. To finish the front, I put the bird down. You can see where I've shaded around it, and I've just put a little bit, I've used the thin foam squares, but I wanted to put a little bit thicker under its wing there, so I don't know whether you can see that, but it's got kind of a rounded appearance. And although this is getting quite busy, I was going to put this on the front, but I think it's too busy and clashes with the shape of the egg there, so I'm just going to put this single door knocker on. I'm also going to use some of these corners, not sure which colour yet. These are Tim Holtz new corners, and they go fabulously. They're not quite the same as the large corners he has, his ornate corners, but they fit beautifully over the edges of these boxes, and they give you, it gives you a nice fine profile of the back. So I think they'll look great on there. Probably these are copper, but I'm not going to use copper. I'll use the brass, and it'll match my knob. And basically that'll be the most of finishing the box itself. Got these inside, and then we'll do all the scenes that are going to go in this box, and I'll put scenes in these and have a bit of a play with those. A couple of things I'd like to mention when you're making this box is I had a lot of grit and stuff around when I was doing this because of the nature of the metal, ferro metal, so it did get under some of the places on here. Now I don't mind those imperfections. You can take advantage of them even, and it just, to me, gives a nice rough edge to it. You can take advantage of an ink pen and do all sorts of things, and of course you don't have to do all this because you mess up the back of your box, because it does make it quite busy. You can leave it quite plain, however you like, and you can stop at any stage. This is just me having fun. And I might do the next video, because this is getting very long, on the boxes, finishing these boxes off. Oh, that's where I remember. One other thing. This I've treated with fast finish, but these with the ferro metal have a rough effect. Now you're going to open and shut this box a lot, and so it can create marks on here. So make sure you give this good coatings of fast finish, several coatings. And if you think the edges of your boxes are too rough, just get a bit of sandpaper and sand those down, and just run a little bit of colour around, and you won't have any edges sticking up. And we'll also in the next video do the book that I'm going to put on there, but I've decided I like these stencils metal leaves, and I'm going to incorporate them in there for a nice flat profile on the front. And these would look great too. We're just debating about that, but I think I've decided to go with these because I'll match all this up, and I'll use my little flowers and leaves on the inside when I decorate the inside of the box. Thank you very much for watching. If you've got any questions, just send me a message.